Hi, I'm Harriet Lindsay. I'm a professor in the chemistry department and I chair the Undergraduate Symposium Organizing Committee. This video is to give you a little bit of instruction and some tips on preparing your poster session for the Undergraduate Symposium. I'm a firm believer that the very best posters require the least amount of effort or work from your audience, and through this video I hope you will come to agree with me on that. So first, what I want to do is introduce you to poster layout and sort of best practices on how to do that. So the idea is that you arrange your work that you want to present in columns. And so the columns should flow from left to right, and the material on the columns should flow from top to bottom, sort of like this. In a face-to-face poster presentation, this actually facilitates the movement of people around a room, so everybody's sort of moving in the same direction. But even in a virtual presentation, this sort of facilitates what's known as reader gravity. It's complementary to the way that we read, which is from left to right and top to bottom. So it makes sense that people are used to looking at material this way. So that's how you want to do that. And so provided on a nearby page is a PowerPoint slide for you to use as a template. You can fill out your title, your name, your faculty mentor's name, etc. There are 3 columns here. Use it if you want to. You can change the background to whatever color you like. You can import material, so you could put in text here. You could add an image, possibly a graph, whatever you want to do. And I'm not suggesting you draw those. Those are for examples. And you can import this from really any program, as you know, just like you would on a PowerPoint slide. So again, your poster is going to be one slide, which you will screen share in Zoom. And so you'll want to practice doing this, obviously before you give your presentation. So practice doing the screen share, and that'll be a good time for you to check out the size of your figures and your text. And so if they're not readable to you in the screen share, then you need to use a larger font size. But anyway, we'll provide you with this template for you to use if you want to. Okay, so sort of going back to the previous page, you'll notice that I used bullet points here for text. And I intentionally, these little squiggles are intended to be one line of text. And so I intentionally did that. Notice I did not draw in paragraphs. So really in a poster, what you're trying to do is minimize the word count. Sort of a good general rule is you only want about 20% text. That's maybe somewhat surprising to you, but really you don't want people to spend time reading. That is not the purpose. You want pictures to tell the story, so you want about at least half graphics, and you want to leave some empty space so readers just don't get fatigued as they're reading through or as they're looking through your poster. Your poster should be something that's browsable. So that means you're not going to be able to include every detail. So again, it's your pictures or graphics that should really dominate and tell the story. You want to use bullet points, not paragraphs. It's actually not necessary to include your abstract. Now consult with your research mentor on this to make sure they don't want you to include it, but you really don't have to. The abstract is to tell people about your presentation. Once they get to your presentation, it's up to the poster to describe the work, so you don't need to have the abstract there. Most important point is this is not a paper. It's not your term paper on a slide. So you want to think of it as an outline with lots and lots and lots of pictures and graphics. So one point about graphics is you want to be judicious when you think about the color to use. So you want to use color for emphasis, not for decoration, because decoration really detracts from the important parts of your presentation. So use it for emphasis. So I've given 2 examples here of charts. And so the one on the left has a lot of color. It's got all these lines here. Nobody's going to be looking at a specific data point. They're looking at trends. Furthermore, this graph, as you would see in a paper, has a key. Now, on a poster, you don't need to include a key. You can just label lines. Likewise, if you have a bar graph, same thing. You can label the bars. You don't need color-coded keys because that actually requires more work from your audience. So think about being as minimalist as you possibly can when it comes to your graphics. Okay, so I have a couple of examples here of posters. And so the first one I'll show you, so I would actually argue this one has a little bit too much text, but you can see, if we zoom in, you can look at the bar graphs. They are labeled right on the bar. This one does have a key, which I would not use. This one does not need a key, and that's good. Here, these actually could be labeled on the graph. If we go over and look at the text, you can see that it's bullet pointed. A couple of the lines have actually 2 lines on them, but really you want to keep your bullet point to a single line if you possibly can. So you're using phrases, not sentences. No need to use complete sentences. You can take out modifiers, so you don't need adjectives and adverbs. You really just want to make sort of choppy phrases. The last thing I should tell you is down at the very end, your acknowledgement should be there. So your references. So if you got any funding for this, you'll want to acknowledge that in the acknowledgement section. Notice that font is really small, and that's okay. You can make that part quite small. Now here's a contrasting example where we have lots and lots of text, and also the text is in paragraph form. Now the middle part here looks pretty good. On the other hand, everywhere. We have long pieces of text. So imagine trying to give this presentation, and this is what you're showing. This might as well not even be here because nobody's going to be able to read that. And probably not many people are going to take the time to zoom on this and try to read it in the course of a presentation. Really what they're going to be doing is looking at the pictures. So unless you have bullet points, people probably aren't even going to look that carefully at your words. Okay, so just to summarize, remember, the best posters require the least amount of work from your audience, so make them minimalist. Certainly minimize text, keep your pictures and graphs clean and informative. Remember to practice, and good luck on symposium day. If you have any questions, be sure to ask your research advisor, but you can also send them to me, and my contact information is right there.